So imagine this, you're coming in the corner, full speed, stuff is crazy. You're pressing on the brakes and what happens? You don't stop. The pedal is going to the floor and you watch in slow-mo as the trees and grass come at you. That, my friends, is why you need a big brake kit. What's up, Vivid Racing YouTube fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're gonna tell you about a very important upgrade that you need to do, and that has to do with big brakes. Now, big brakes is something a lot of people overlook, and that's because everyone thinks about power, but with speed and power comes the need to stop. So what is a big brake kit? A big brake kit is a brake upgrade over the factory brakes. Larger calipers, rotors, and of course come with pads and lines. Now, a caliper is going to be available in different options depending on the manufacturer and what can actually fit on the car. We're talking about 4-piston, 6-piston, even 8-piston. When you see brake kits that have things like 12 piston, it's really unnecessary. Just because you have a ton of pistons does not mean you are going to improve braking performance. We talk about calipers. Calipers are moving the fluid into the pistons to clamp down on the rotor. If you ever take apart a caliper, you can measure, and usually those piston sizes will be staggered as you go down. And again, that's because of the rotational force the brakes are clamping as the brake rotor turns. Some of the top brake companies such as Brembo, Stoptech, they have very good 4 and 6 piston design. These calipers are either available in a 2-piece where you have 2 machined caliper halves bolted together, or you have something like Brembo and they have a monoblock 1-piece forged caliper. Anytime you have something that's 1-piece, you do not have flex. Under hard braking, if you have too much flex, you'll notice that caliper will actually go in and out. So picking the caliper style and caliper type for your vehicle is very important. When it comes to rotors, there are so many options and so many opinions about brake rotors. Now you've got drilled and slotted, J-hook, all types of different ones. The most important thing to understand is that there is a 2-piece rotor design and not all those are created equal. A 2-piece floating rotor means that the rotor is bolted to the hat, the aluminum brake hat, with just enough space using washers and nuts to have it floating. This means that when you are hard on the brakes, you're getting equal clamping force from both sides. That way you do not have one side that does not dissipate as much heat as the other. When you look at the 2-piece rotors, you want to know, is it vented? Is it drilled? Is it slotted? When we get into that, it's about, again, heat dissipation. The more you can dissipate heat, the better the braking will be. Some people will say that drilled rotors are not good for the track because they can crack. Some will say slotted is the best, but they don't vent as much air. It's a give or take situation. A lot of street cars will have drilled rotors. You can look at some of the best Porsche GT3 RSs, Lamborghini Huracans. They have drilled ceramic rotors. The drilled rotors will not crack for those that are running them in normal situations. And it will be very hard to crack those with a proper pad, even on a racetrack. Also in a big brake kit, you obviously have the brackets that will bolt the caliper to your existing wheel carrier. You have brake pads. Brake pad type is extremely important. You've got street pads, race pads, different types of pads that can handle different heat. Obviously, guys that are doing tracking want a different pad than a street car because those types of pads need to constantly be working on and off. Most brake kits come with steel braided brake lines, replacing the factory rubber lines. That's because, well, one is the caliper is different than factory, and two, a steel braided line is better even for your stock brakes. Think of a boost hose. A brake line will have pressure go through it. If that pressure cannot flex the hose, then that brake pedal is going to be much firmer. So now that you understand how the big brake kit works, when do you need to upgrade your brakes? That's a decision totally based upon what you are using your vehicle for. Someone that's doing an occasional track day, you kind of want that additional performance where rotors and pads and bleeding the brakes just isn't going to do it. So that's when you start to look at, do I want improved braking? As I started off, more horsepower, you're going faster, you want to brake. If you've ever been going really fast and you need to stop quickly and you notice that vehicle starts to fade and your brakes aren't working, that's when you need to replace those brakes. Brake fade can be scary and dangerous as well. Another reason that people do upgrade the brakes, which is something that most may or may not agree with, is style points. From a standard cast caliper behind a cool looking 3-piece or 1-piece wheel, they look pretty weak. So guys and gals will do a big, massive brake upgrade so it looks really cool. Of course it's gonna perform, but it's gonna pop and you're gonna see that behind the wheel. It will give that added style points. So we've mentioned a couple names of different brake companies that are available. So you've got Brembo, one of the biggest manufacturers of big brake kits and OEM for almost all vehicles. You've got Stoptech, a huge aftermarket big brake company who does do some OEM components. There are companies like Baer Brakes based right here in Arizona. They make awesome brake kits for older resto mod vehicles, trucks, SUVs, and even do some high performance cars. You've got Wilwood Brakes, Alcon, and AP Racing, just to name a few. Before you go and purchase a set of big brakes, you gotta know, will they fit with your existing wheels? Different size calipers and rotors can either push the offset of what needs to clear out or in overall diameter. Most companies like Brembo, Stoptech, Baer, and others have brake templates. This way you can make sure that your existing wheels will clear your new brake kit. Hopefully all this information helps you when choosing a big brake kit. Of course, here at Vivid Racing, we have tons of these available for all types of vehicles when you go to vividracing.com. So guys, check it out. If you have questions, let us know. Make sure you leave a comment, hit the subscribe button. Remember today's PSA, it's not always about going fast, but you gotta brake too. All right, guys, we'll see you at the next one.